Embarkation day on Liberty of the Seas is exciting, but there is a lot to do in the first few hours. And if you don't know what to expect, it's easy to spend the start of your cruise carrying bags around and not knowing where to go first. So in this video, I'll show you what boarding is like from Southampton, what to do first on board, where to eat lunch, and how to make the most of day one. Before embarkation day, the first thing I'd recommend doing is downloading the Royal Caribbean app and logging in. This is not an app you only use once you're on board. You'll need it before the cruise for check-in, and once you're on the ship, it becomes one of the easiest ways to see what's happening on board. Royal Caribbean online check-in usually opens 45 days before your sail date, and if you want one of the earliest arrival times, it is worth doing this as soon as check-in opens. The early boarding slots can go very quickly. A lot of regular Royal Caribbean cruises will actually set an alarm for midnight, because check-in often opens at midnight ship's time. One useful tip is that you don't need to complete the whole check-in process in one go. If you're trying to get an early arrival time, choose your boarding slot first. Then you can go back later to add your passport details. You also normally need to complete the final health questionnaire within 24 hours of sailing, so don't forget to check the app again the day before embarkation. The app is also useful before the cruise because Royal Caribbean uses dynamic pricing for extras like drinks packages, dining packages, internet, and the key. Prices can go up and down before sailing, so it's worth checking regularly. And if you book something and the price later drops, you can usually cancel and rebook it at the lower price through your cruise planner or app. That can make a big difference, especially with things like the deluxe drinks package. Before embarkation day, make sure you check which Southampton cruise terminal Liberty of the Seas is sailing from. Royal Caribbean ships in Southampton most often use Horizon Cruise Terminal or City Cruise Terminal, but it is always worth checking your final documents because the terminal can change. If you're flying in, I would always recommend arriving the day before your cruise if you can. It gives you some buffer in case of delays. Southampton is also very easy to reach by train, and the station is close to the cruise terminals, so you can usually get a taxi from there to the port. If you're driving, Royal Caribbean uses ABP parking in Southampton. With ABP, you normally park the car yourself, keep your keys, and your luggage is collected separately before you walk over to the terminal. I've also made a full Southampton cruise port guide covering the terminals, parking, hotels, trains, and what to expect on embarkation day. If you're not using ABP parking, the first thing you'll usually do when you arrive at the port is drop off your main luggage. Make sure your luggage tags are already attached, because your suitcases will be taken from you at the terminal, and the next time you see them will normally be outside your cabin later in the day. Once your luggage has gone, you can head into the terminal. With Royal Caribbean in Southampton, you'll normally go through security first, and then move on to check-in. You'll need your boarding pass and your passport ready, so don't pack those away in your suitcase. Once you've checked in, what happens next depends on whether boarding has already started. If the ship is ready, you may be able to walk straight on board. If boarding hasn't started yet, you may be asked to wait in the seating area until your group is called. My advice is to arrive close to your boarding time. If you arrive too early, you may just end up waiting at the terminal until boarding starts, or until your arrival window is accepted. One of the good things about Royal Caribbean is that embarkation in Southampton can start quite early. So if you have an early arrival time, there's a good chance you'll be on board before lunch and can make the most of those first few hours. Once you step on board Liberty of the Seas, you'll usually be asked to go to your muster station. Your muster station will be shown on your boarding pass, and when you get there, the crew will scan your boarding pass to check you in. Royal Caribbean uses an e-muster system, so you don't need to stand outside in a large group wearing a life jacket, like the old-style safety drills. You'll also need to watch the safety video, which you can usually do through the Royal Caribbean app, or later on the TV screen in your cabin. Also, remember that your cabin probably won't be ready straight away, so you may be carrying your hand luggage around for the first part of the day. If you want to use the pools, hot tubs, or head straight up to the pool deck, don't pack your swimming gear in your main suitcase, because that may not arrive until later in the afternoon. Also, one thing that sometimes catches first-time Royal Caribbean cruisers out is that you won't usually collect your SeaPass card until your cabin is ready. Don't worry though, because that doesn't stop you using the ship. If you want to buy a drink, the bar staff can normally look up your account using your cabin number, or they may ask to see your boarding pass. Once you've done your muster, one of the first things most people want to do is get some lunch. On Liberty of the Seas, the main included embarkation day lunch option is the Windjammer buffet, and this is where a lot of passengers naturally head first. The Windjammer is a good option because there's plenty of choice, but it is also usually one of the busiest places on the ship on embarkation day. But Windjammer isn't your only included option. On Liberty of the Seas, you've also got El Loco Fresh, Sorrento's Pizzeria, and Café Promenade. which can all be good options if you want something a bit quicker or lighter on embarkation day. If you've bought the key, one of the day one perks is a special embarkation lunch in the main dining room with a menu based on Chop's Grill. And if you want to start the cruise with more of a treat, Chop's Grill itself is usually open for lunch on embarkation day as a paid specialty dining option. After lunch, this is one of the best times to start exploring Liberty of the Seas. Not everyone will be on board yet. Cabins may still not be ready, and lots of passengers will either be in the windjammer, sorting out their luggage, or still making their way through the terminal. So if you want to get your bearings, this is a really good time to wander around the ship. It's also a good time to head up to the pool deck before it gets too busy. And if you just want to start the cruise slowly, this is a lovely time to get your first drink, find somewhere to sit, and enjoy being on board before the ship gets busier later in the afternoon. At some point in the afternoon, there will normally be an announcement to say that cabins are ready. On Royal Caribbean, this is often around 2 or 3 o'clock, although the exact time can vary. When that announcement is made, it's a good time to head to your cabin, drop off your hand luggage, and pick up your SeaPass card. Your SeaPass card is your room key, your onboard charge card, and the card you'll use around the ship. So once you've picked it up, keep it with you. But don't expect your main luggage to have arrived at the same time. Your suitcases will usually arrive outside your cabin later in the afternoon, and it's very normal for one case to arrive before another. Once you've dropped your hand luggage in the cabin, picked up your SeaPass card, and started to get your bearings, the rest of embarkation day is really yours to enjoy. Sailaway from Southampton is usually around 4:30 in the afternoon. Although the exact time can vary, this is also one of the busiest and liveliest times on board. If the weather is good, most people will head up to the open decks for Sailaway, especially around the pool deck. It can be a really fun place to be, especially if you want that lively Royal Caribbean atmosphere for your first drink or first sail away from Southampton. But because everyone is heading to the same places at the same time, this is also when the ship can feel at its busiest. The bars and open decks are very busy, and there can be queues for drinks. So, if you want to be part of the atmosphere, the pool deck is a great place to go. Just be prepared that it may take a little longer to get served, and moving around the ship can feel a bit hectic. But I wouldn't judge the whole cruise by that first afternoon. Embarkation day always has that slightly busy, chaotic feel, because everyone is finding their way around at the same time. Once the ship has sailed, people start spreading out across the ship, and everything usually settles down quite quickly. Once you've picked up your SeaPass card, it's worth checking your dining arrangements. Royal Caribbean normally operates 2 types of main dining. You'll either have traditional dining, where you're given a fixed dining time, table and main dining room, or you'll have My Time dining, where you have more flexibility around when you eat. Your SeaPass card should show what you've been allocated, including your main dining room, table number, and dining time if you're on a fixed sitting. If everything looks fine, you don't need to do anything. But if you want to change your dining time, check your table, ask about My Time dining, or try to move to a different sitting, embarkation afternoon is a good time to sort it. Head to one of the main dining rooms and speak to the maitre d'. They may not always be able to change everything, especially on a busy sailing, but they are the best people to ask. By early evening, your luggage will probably have arrived outside your cabin, so this is a good time to unpack, get organized, and get ready for dinner. If your luggage hasn't arrived yet, don't panic. It can take a while on embarkation day, and suitcases don't always arrive at the same time. After dinner, or before dinner if you have time, check the Royal Caribbean app to see what entertainment is happening that evening. There is normally a show in the Royal Theatre, but there may also be an ice show in Studio B, quizzes, game shows, or live music around the ship. It's also worth wandering the Royal Promenade as well. Embarkation day can feel very busy, but once dinner starts and people spread out around the ship, the whole atmosphere usually settles down. And now that you know how embarkation day works on Liberty of the Seas, the next thing you'll probably want to see is what the ship itself is actually like. I've filmed a full Liberty of the Seas ship tour, and you can watch that next on screen now.